Okay, now we're going to talk about contraception. As a Brit, we don't really like talking about sex in public, so I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable. But this is a really important topic, and our next speaker has done some really fascinating work. She is the woman behind the world's first scientifically proven certified contraception app. And before that, she had a really interesting career. She was one of the physicists who helped to find the Higgs boson, that elusive particle in one of the biggest scientific experiments of all time. So please welcome the CEO and founder of Natural Cycles, Elina Berglund.
Can you hear me? Yes? Cool. I have to correct that I'm not the CEO, I'm the CTO. My husband is the CEO, and he will get very mad at me later if I don't correct this. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my journey from particle physics research at CERN to creating a fertility app. And I also have to defend CERN a little bit. She left, but the World Wide Web was actually invented at CERN in 1989. Not 2001. Just have to make that clear. Anyway, so since I was about 5 years old, I've always wanted to be a physicist. I was really fascinated by the universe, the stars, galaxies, the black holes, and even Pluto, as she discussed before. So that's how I got into studying physics and also eventually particle physics as a PhD, because I wanted to really understand the fundamentals of the universe. And the best moment of my career and maybe life so far was the summer in 2012 when we discovered the Higgs particle at CERN. In particle physics, it's all about statistics and data. Nowadays, every company says everything about data is about data, but at CERN, it's really, really about a lot of data. And even though the Higgs particle was predicted in the 60s, it took 50 years to actually discover it, because it's kind of like searching for a tiny, tiny needle in a big haystack of data. And we had been working days, nights, Christmas, New Year's, every weekend for so long, until this moment in the summer of 2012. And this was maybe the greatest moment ever. I remember we were sitting at the CERN cafeteria, me and a few of my colleagues, and we were looking at the results for the first time before presenting to the entire team. And that made really everything worth it, because it was so clear and it was so beautiful that the Higgs was really there. It was almost laughing at us, like, here I am. You haven't seen me before, but here I am. And yeah, that was an amazing moment. A few of us stayed up that night at CERN to finish the scientific paper, to hand it in already the next day. And I will never forget that feeling when I biked home in the summer morning after the most exciting 24 hours of my life. We didn't know it then, but we did suspect that this would lead to the Nobel Prize in Physics, and it did already the next year. This is a picture from the New York Times when I'm pouring champagne together with my team a few days after the discovery at CERN. This amazing feeling I had, it lasted I think around 3 weeks. And then it started being replaced by a growing feeling of emptiness. The accelerator was going to shut down for a few years, and I was thinking that even after that, will I ever experience or achieve something so rare again in physics? Maybe next time we discover particles in 10 years or 20 years, or maybe never. So I was thinking that if I would ever try doing something else, this was the time. But since I always wanted to become a physicist and I never had any other dreams, this was also really new and scary for me. I think a lot of things in life is about timing, and a lot of things are also about coincidence. Because 1 month after we discovered the Higgs particle was also the time for our wedding. And the honeymoon after that gave the opportunity for reflection for the first time in really long. And we were thinking, if we would leave physics, what would we do then? And 6 months earlier, I had stopped using hormonal contraception, because I knew maybe in a year or two, we would want to have children and get pregnant. And I wanted to give my body a break from from the hormones before I wanted to get pregnant. I had looked what kind of natural methods of contraception there was on the market, but I didn't find any serious or effective product. I did, however, discover that you can see in your body temperature when you ovulate, and this was really a revelation for me. This was some medical research that had been done really long ago and was well studied, and I had no idea about this. I started to use my statistics and data knowledge from CERN and analyze my own temperature data. And I could very easily and clearly pinpoint my ovulation and hence calculate my fertile days. I got a bit obsessed with my own data, and of course I showed it to my colleagues at CERN, and some of my female colleagues also started measuring their temperature and telling me what was the value in the morning, and I told them if they were fertile or not. My husband, who always wanted to become an entrepreneur, he thought that we should make an app and put the algorithm in there, and then all couples could profit from this innovation that we had done. I thought that that was really an interesting idea. And anyway, I wanted to learn how to code an app that sounded like fun. So I developed the first version of what's the Natural Cycles app today. It has kind of been the same from the start. It analyzes women's body temperature to determine when they are fertile, and even more importantly, when they're definitely not fertile. And 2/3 of our users use the app to prevent pregnancies, and 1/3 use it to plan a pregnancy. It works as the woman measures her temperature in the morning, she enters it into the app, my algorithm runs in the background and returns a red or a green day. A green day if there's no risk of pregnancy, and a red day if she's fertile. So it's pretty simple, actually. And I was wondering, why hasn't anyone done this before? Well, I will find out later. When we founded the company, our vision was that every pregnancy worldwide should be wanted. We had really found a hole in the market. Women in the Western world starting to be more aware of the side effects that comes with the contraceptive pill. And often they quit it to not use any contraception at all, and therefore abortion rates increase. Also in the Western world, women get older and older when they first try to get pregnant, and that might be difficult at the older age, especially after being decades on the pill that makes you basically infertile. It was clear, though, from the beginning that the end goal should be the developing world. We felt like this is where we can make the most impact, as women there today have no or very limited access to contraception. This would not only benefit these women and their families, but also society and health, even climate change in the long run. To quote Melinda Gates, "No country has ever emerged from poverty without expanding contraceptions." And this is ultimately what we wanted to achieve. I guess we were a little bit naive at first. We did come from the world of science, where everyone is good and friendly. And we managed to grow the company almost seamlessly at first. After our first launch in Sweden, within 1 year, we had taken 4% of the Swedish contraceptive market, and we were present in 90 countries. It was then, in August 2015, we got a note from the regulators telling us that we have to shut down within 10 days because we have the wrong CE stamp. That was not a fun letter to get, and it was pretty scary. And it was strange, because we had asked the same regulators when we entered the market what we need to do to get approved. And they had said, well, you ask the auditors, those who audit you. And those who audit us, they say we are class 1, a fertility monitor. Well, now the regulators didn't agree. They didn't think we were a class 1, a fertility monitor anymore. They thought we were a contraceptive device. But the auditors hadn't agreed. This was a major setback for us, but we didn't give up. We knew we had a product that women loved and wanted to use, and also important for society. One step in the right direction was 1 year ago when we published our second clinical studies, together with one of the best professors in gynecology in the world. And this study showed that actually our app is just as effective as the contraceptive pill in preventing pregnancies, but of course without any of the health risks involved. Another setback was when we then applied to make another clinical trial. We wanted to do a randomized clinical trial directly comparing natural cycles with the pill. A trial that the regulators had pointed out would be the gold standard if we wanted to be approved as a contraception. But now the same regulators declined our study because they just said that they didn't see the purpose of it, and we hadn't yet proved that we were a contraception, so then we cannot make the study. Catch-22. Something wasn't right in this field, and no one seems to care about the women. Shouldn't they be allowed to make educated choices about their own health? We were no longer allowed to say anything that could insinuate that our app would be used for contraception, or that anything negative could be about hormones or the pill. So we had to go through all our social media history and delete all such posts because there were many of them. As you can see here, this is basically what the women say. And there's one place where the regulators or our competitors cannot mute the voices of the women, because when they rate us in the App Store, they tell us how nice it is to not have to take the pill anymore and still be safe. Things that they are not allowed to say according to the regulators. I guess maybe Apple could censor them, but Apple doesn't. And many audits later, documentation, clinical trials, a lot of work. In the beginning of this year, we finally got the certification of a Class 2B medical device for contraception. This was a great milestone, not only for us and the women using our product, but also for technology in general. For the first time in history, really an app can replace a pharmaceutical drug and use prevention instead of treatment. Now I'm going to be maybe a little bit too transparent with you guys, and I really love graphs, so I wanted to show a graph. This is our sales curve. And as you can see, when we came and launched our products in the fall of 2014, we had a nice growth, 20% month on month, until the end of the summer 2015. This was when the regulators hit us, and we had to scale down our marketing. By some miracle, we still managed to make the same amount of sales in 2016 as 2015, but we did almost no marketing. Then now in February, we launched that we are the first certified contraceptive app in the world. And you can see what happens with our growth. And you can see what also happened in March. It's not a one-time thing. Now nothing can stop us. And you can also see that it's worth not giving up. If you fail, have some tenacity. Try again. It will be worth it in the long run. Thank you.
Thanks.